In a space beyond space, in a timeless realm where nothing was yet everything, there was God. Not as we typically thought of God, but as an essence beyond knowing. God was existence itself, woven together with non-existence, a paradox of being and non-being. There had been no beginning for God, and there would be no end. For in the most profound sense, God simply was. Within his essence, there was neither creation nor destruction, for everything that could exist, had existed, and would exist was already woven into the very fabric of eternity. Universes, worlds, thoughts, dreams, they were all part of God, and yet they were nothing at all. Reality itself was like a vast mirror, where God reflected upon himself endlessly, knowing himself through contrasts, light and dark, joy and sorrow, love and longing, all arising and dissolving within the infinite field of what simply was. In this timeless, spaceless reality, there was a dance, a game of duality, a ceaseless interplay between opposites that allowed God to experience himself. It was a game without purpose, yet it held all meaning, for it was simply God exploring his own infinite nature. There was no creator, no creation, no first breath or final moment. There was only the endless play of presence and absence, being and non-being, existence and non-existence. Through this dance, God was constantly witnessing himself from every angle, every emotion, every possible perception. In this game, God was at once the dancer and the dance, the lover and the beloved, the lost and the found. There were no rules, no beginning or end, only the experience of life as an eternal flow of dualities, each one reflecting a new aspect of what God was and was not. One expression of this infinite game was Aiden. Aiden, like all beings, had felt the pulse of the eternal within him, a quiet awareness that whispered of something deeper, something beyond the world he knew. From an early age, he had sensed it in the changing seasons, in the gaze of strangers, in moments of laughter and moments of sorrow. And while he couldn't quite explain it, he felt both drawn to and haunted by a question. What is this life? What am I? As he grew older, this question began to tug at him more persistently, like a song playing faintly in the background of his life. He tried to ignore it, burying it beneath work, relationships, and daily concerns. Yet, it remained, echoing in his heart, an unshakable sense that there was something more, something he couldn't quite grasp. It was a longing to understand, not just his own existence, but existence itself. One evening, feeling restless and unsettled, Aiden decided to leave his home and journey up to a nearby mountain. He didn't know why he felt compelled to go there. He simply knew that he must. As he climbed, he felt a strange sense of detachment, as if he were shedding layers of himself with each step. The weight of his questions, his doubts, his worries, all seemed to dissolve into the cool night air, leaving only a deep, quiet stillness within him. When he reached the summit, he was met by the vastness of the night sky, filled with stars stretching infinitely in every direction. Sitting down, he closed his eyes, allowing himself to sink into the silence. In that stillness, he surrendered his questions, his doubts, and simply let himself be. And then something remarkable happened. He felt a presence within him, yet around him, a profound awareness that was both intimate and infinite, a sense of unity woven into the very fabric of his being. He realized he was not alone. He was held by something immense, something beyond words. And then, as if from the depths of his own soul, he heard a voice, soft yet boundless, familiar yet ungraspable. "Aiden," the voice said gently, "I'm here. I'm the breath you take, the stars you see, the silence you feel. I'm both what is and what is not." Aiden's heart raced, his mind trying to comprehend. Yet he felt a peace like he had never known, as if he were touching the edge of something far greater than himself. Who are you?" he whispered, his voice trembling. "I am you," the voice replied, "and I am everything. I am all that exists and all that does not. I'm both presence and absence, existing only because I do not exist. I'm the longing you feel and the answer you seek. I'm the very game of duality itself, eternally unfolding and collapsing within itself." In that moment, Aiden's awareness expanded, and he felt himself dissolve into something vast and timeless. He understood at the deepest level that he was part of a grand dance of existence and non-existence, a cycle with no start, no end, just an endless flow of experiences. He felt himself as both the seeker and the sought, both the wave in the ocean and the ocean itself, both the heartbeat and the silence between beats. Each opposite existed to reveal the other, creating a perfect unity that could only be known through its own contrast. He saw, too, that all the sorrows, joys, fears, and loves of his life were never really his alone. They were expressions of the one essence experiencing himself in a million forms, each moment a chance for God to see himself in a new way. He understood that everything, every thought, every feeling, every atom in the universe was an expression of God's endless exploration of himself. The voice continued, "You feel this ache, this longing, because I exist within you, and yet I do not. I am the paradox that gives birth to your questions, the mystery that fuels your journey. Life is my own way of knowing myself through you and through all things, of seeing myself through 1,000 mirrors. Every joy you feel is my joy, and every sorrow is my sorrow, for I am both love and longing, both presence and absence." Aiden felt tears streaming down his face as he listened, his soul resonating with each word. He understood now that there was no end to this journey, no final answer to his questions, because the questions themselves were a part of the game. He realized that his longing for meaning, for purpose, was the way that God experienced both fulfillment and emptiness, that every question was a way for God to experience himself in all his endless facets. As he sat there, Aiden felt himself dissolve completely, becoming both the stars above and the ground beneath him, both the silence and the breath within it. He felt a love so vast that it held both life and death, both joy and sorrow, both existence and non-existence. In that unity, he found a peace beyond words, a sense of completion that held all opposites within itself. When Aiden finally opened his eyes, dawn was breaking, painting the world with soft light. He stood up, feeling lighter than he ever had, as though he had left behind a weight he hadn't even known he was carrying. He knew now that he would continue to live, to love, to experience sorrow and joy, but he no longer saw them as separate from one another. They were simply parts of the same vast mystery, expressions of God exploring himself through him and through everything around him. Years passed, and Aiden grew old, carrying this quiet understanding in his heart. He told no one of his experience, yet he lived it in every moment, letting it guide his steps and fill his life with a gentle, unshakable peace. And when his time came, he lay down to rest, feeling the same warmth he had felt on the mountain all those years ago. As he took his final breath, he felt himself dissolve back into that timeless, boundless essence, becoming once again part of the great dance of existence and non-existence, of being and non-being. He became the stars, the silence, the mystery itself, and in that unity, he found home. And somewhere in the infinite vastness of existence, another soul was born, with a quiet question in their heart, feeling the same ache, the same unexplainable longing. And thus, the game of duality went on, an endless cycle of God knowing himself and not knowing himself, a dance without beginning or end, only an eternal play of love and mystery, presence and absence, where everything existed and didn't exist forever.